You mentioned the speed. How much does playing a team such as this help your team prepare for the speed they'll see once they get into conference play?
Well, you know, obviously, anytime you play, you hope that there's something that you can take away from it that helps you prepare for your conference play, and yes, it will. I mean, it's a vital point. And once again, it will, I think, you know, what you try to get your players to do, I mean, speed is what it is. And you try to get your players to play as fast as they can play. I mean, I think that's pretty commonly recognized, you know, in the coaching ranks. And, you know, when sometimes, you know, a youngster that's a little slower of foot, if he, you know, plays as hard as he possibly can, plays as smart and as fast because he understands what he's supposed to be doing, so therefore he's not a step behind, then sometimes that makes up for what might be, you know, on the clock, a lack of, or by comparison, a lack of speed. And I think that's what we strive to do with our football team, is to try to get them to, you know, play to their maximum speed capacity and help close the gap then on some of the speed difference. But yes, it helps you prepare, but as I said, it is what it is, and you know, the quickness will be a factor in the ball game. And not just, you know, it's not just offensive and defensive speed, but they utilize, I mentioned that there were good special teams football team, and they really are. And they use their starters on special teams. I appreciate that attitude. That's the attitude I like to have. And you appreciate players that are willing to play as hard on special teams as they do on offense and defense. And I think it appears to me that their players are fit that mold. So there's a great deal of speed and quickness on their special teams, more than what you might normally find in, you know, a lot of programs.
Thomas and Valentine, the 1-2 punch they gave you against UMass, and the ability to be able to control the climb.
You know, I thought they both, you know, obviously did a very nice job. They really did. As you can see, Thomas, you know, they're a little different type of runner, and as I've said before, you know, Thomas is a fluid runner, and you know, can run with some strength and power. You know, he, as you notice many times, that he, you know, he, so to speak, moved the pile. And that comes from good lower body strength as well as upper body strength, and he's a sizable back as well. But Keithan runs hard as well. I mean, none of that is ever intended to say that Keithan doesn't run hard, because he does it, and you know, you evidence that in the ball game. You know, the important thing for us is we got blocked people in front of them and give them some chances. You know, they made a lot of yardage, you know, on, you know, kind of that yards after you get hit, and you know, what we've got to be able to do is give them some cleaner spaces in which to operate. And that did happen a few times, maybe not as many as you'd like.
What kind of player do you see Lamar Brown as, and what's his role on this team going forward?
Well, you know, he's playing on some special teams for us. He's a starter. He's, you know, I think he's made some headway. He's, you know, he's developing. I think as wide receiver, that is his role, you know, on our football team there and on special teams. You know, he's a physical wide receiver. Just a matter of, you know, really the first time he's lined up and played that position on the field, and you know, there were some nuances to the game that kind of caught him unaware, and there were, you know, probably just a lack of experience, you know, at the position that was hard, that he had to make some adjustments to. But you know, he'll keep getting better. Nobody works any harder. Nobody's more conscientious than Lamar.
How far away is he from being completely adjusted to this position?
Well, I don't know. I couldn't tell you that, though. Keep going and find out.
Tyson Hartman obviously had a great game for you guys last time. I mean, from what you've seen in practice in that game, is that something we can expect on a pretty regular basis out of him? Well,
you know, my assessment of Tyson really is still the same. I mean, you know, he gets himself into positions to make plays because he's an intelligent young guy. You know, he learns well. He has a good feel for what we're trying to accomplish defensively, And, you know, and there's a lot to be said, and particularly at the position that he plays. There's a lot of responsibility that goes with it. And he handled that, and I think it is, you know, he's one of those guys that, you know, he's not there yet, but, you know, I think he's getting closer to be able to play to what his maximum speed happens to be. You know, he showed up in a lot of different places, not just in the interceptions but that he had and the one that he probably should have had. But, you know, as far as versus a running game. And the important thing there is he's not, you know, didn't get himself caught out of position playing the running game. You know, he came down and played the running game when it was appropriate for him to do so, not because he wasn't paying attention to what his responsibilities were. So, you know, he's, and I think, you know, he's conscientious, and he too will get better as we go on.